Posted by you/throw RA family left. I apologize for any mistakes. I haven't been able to sleep and I'm really struggling. I feel emotionally drained. My wife Amy, 35F, left me, 36M, after I was contacted by an ex and discovered that I had a son. I tried to post his age, but my post keeps getting removed, so I just want to clarify that he was born 3 years before I married my wife. There was absolutely no overlap or cheating in my relationship with my wife. This happened a month ago, and I requested a paternity test. Amy didn't say much while we waited for the results, but she agreed that if I was the father, I needed to be in my son's life in every way possible. 2 weeks ago, the results came back confirming that I am the father, and immediately, Amy said she wanted a divorce and began packing her and our children's belongings. I was confused and asked her why, but she just cried and said she loved me. Amy and I have been married for 10 years. Our marriage has been pretty close to perfect, no serious arguments, shared goals, we've traveled the world together, have a beautiful home, rewarding careers, and fantastic children. I am heartbroken that she's thrown everything away. I feel like my life has been destroyed. I have no idea what to do. I've begged and pleaded for therapy, but my wife refuses. She has started the divorce process. The next issue is custody of our children and the terms of the divorce. All 4 of our children are young, not even in school yet. She says if I agree to give her primary custody, she will let me have the house, will not want child support, and will give me all of our savings so I can raise my son, as his mother is struggling. She also agreed to pay for some home help for me. I am disabled and need assistance during flare-ups, which she usually provides. I told her I could afford it on my own, but she insists, saying she wants to help out since she won't be there. She plans to move across the country with our children but said she will bring them for at least 2 weeks every 2 months so I can have a relationship with them, and she will pay for me to fly out to see them whenever I want. I don't know what to do. I have no family to discuss this with, because 2 of Amy's and my children are adopted, and my parents and extended family think my biological son is more important than them, which is obviously untrue. It makes me feel terrible, but I don't even know my son. It feels like I'm losing everything for someone I don't know. I know he's a child, and I shouldn't feel this way, but all I ever wanted was my wife and kids. While I will love my son and take care of him, I don't feel like he is truly my child yet because I haven't had the chance to get to know him. A month ago, I wouldn't have recognized him if I saw him on the street. I feel so much guilt for feeling this way. Amy and I are both fairly well off, but she is more so than I am. She offered to hire a lawyer of my choosing if I don't agree with her terms. I told her again I could afford it, but she says she just wants to ensure I get a fair deal. But I can't. I don't want to divorce or lose my children. I love my wife and children more than anything. I just don't understand her motives or why she's doing this. It feels like I have to choose between my son and my wife and our shared kids. I keep trying to make sense of it in my mind. She will not give me any reason for wanting a divorce. She's even being incredibly nice to my son. His birthday was recently, and she bought him a new game system. They haven't met, she said to say it was for me and his siblings. She even told me what her nephew, the same age as my son, is into so that I can get things my son might like. I don't even know what kind of advice I'm looking for. It feels like my life has been completely ruined. I'm in therapy, but it doesn't seem to help. A month ago, my wife and I were planning to try for another baby and choose our next vacation spot, and now I'm going to be divorced. How do I move on? How do I not unfairly resent my son when I know it's not his fault? I keep hoping there's a way to convince her to stay, but I don't even know what the real problem is. I'm hoping someone else who's been through discovering they have a child after 10 plus years might know where to start or what I can do to either move on or convince my wife that this doesn't have to happen. Any advice at all would be appreciated. Edit. I have not asked my wife to be a caregiver to me. I rarely have flare-ups bad enough that I need a caregiver, maybe once a month, in a bad year, to a few times a year. My wife has been insistent our entire relationship on caring for me because she wanted to whenever I did need help. If she was burnt out or stressed, there was always the option to hire help. She was the one who did not want home help. We divided our workload equally in our household and had a nanny who assisted us with much of the housework, as well as regular cleaners, etc. As far as finances, while she earns more money than I do, we are both quite well off. We both work around the same number of hours and contribute equally to household bills. I believe if my wife were unhappy, she would have said something. We have never had any issues in our relationship, and any problems that arose she would communicate to me, and we would work together to solve. We always did check-ins in our relationship to make sure we were on the same page and could communicate in a healthy way. The more I hear stories from commenters, the more I believe she just did not want to be a step-parent. Second, while I have no way of proving that my wife was not cheating, I do not believe she was. We regularly used each other's phones, spent the majority of our time together, and she has never given me a reason to be suspicious. Another thing mentioned is that she is jealous because she is infertile. This is not the case. We were actually preparing to have another biological baby of our own before this happened. My wife has no plans to move immediately. Once we found out paternity and she said she wanted a divorce, she wanted to be closer to her family, who are located across the country. I do not believe there is another man or anything else, as her family would not approve of dating or remarriage since they are quite religious. From my understanding, she has no solid plans as of yet because she wants to make sure we have a custody agreement we are both happy with and believe is fair. I am in contact with a lawyer now. I told my wife I did not find what she wanted to be fair in terms of custody, and we are now trying to figure out how we could have court-mandated 50-50 long-distance custody, with her paying the travel fees and associated costs. Many of your comments have suggested asking for a trial separation and court-mandated therapy. I have mentioned these things, and she is still refusing. I plan on asking my lawyer about it and hoping we can move forward, if nothing else, as healthy co-parents. It is incredibly heartbreaking to see all of the comments saying they would leave if they were in her position as well. Although I can understand your point of view, it is incredibly hard to live through it. I love my wife and children more than anything, and it is soul-wrenching to lose them to something that is also a surprise for me. I appreciate all of your advice and will keep you updated as best as I can, although I do not expect to be able to update for some time, as I do not expect this divorce to be finalized soon. Thank you all so much for sharing your experiences with me, listening to me vent, and giving advice. Editor's note. Op is not the most reliable narrator. 28 days after his original post, Op shared in a separate post that his teenage son was exhibiting racist and homophobic behavior, regularly using slurs and being unreasonably hostile toward others. 11 days later, Op posted that his 13-year-old son had broken his MacBook, stolen a laptop from the nanny, and was attempting to sell it at school. 25 days after that, Op questioned whether he made the right decision. It was revealed that his son was abusive toward his grandmother, using violence, stealing her medication, and pushing a younger sibling who couldn't swim into a pool, causing the child to be traumatized. He also retaliated against Op's wife by pulling the cat's tail out of its carrier, demonstrating animal cruelty. 76 days later, Op sought advice because his son was refusing to shower or maintain basic hygiene, leading them to clean his room and linens for him. 25 days after that, Op vented about his struggles. His son had intentionally peed in his 4-year-old sister's bed and pinched another younger sibling hard enough to leave a significant bruise. All the younger siblings, who are below school age, were so terrorized that they were afraid whenever he was nearby. 100 days later, Op shared that his son was being manipulated by constantly asking who would you choose questions, aiming to position himself as the top priority in the household. 85 days later, Op said his son took inappropriate pictures of his wife showering and then sent them to his classmates. Update 7.5 months later. It has been over a year since my original post. Since then, my life has completely changed. Some days are very hard, but all things considered, I am doing well. The biggest change is that my wife and I divorced. She moved with our shared children to the opposite coast to be near her family. We had an amicable split, as we both agreed it was best for our family. I am very thankful for that. However, it is difficult not seeing all of my kids. The first month was the hardest, especially as we didn't want a divorce and struggled not to treat each other like spouses, which delayed our healing. My son is doing much better now that it's just the two of us. After our divorce, my son opened up about her in therapy. I now understand much more about his behavior. He is much happier now as an only child as well. He is really thriving with my attention. He is still struggling with his mental health, but his care team sees progress, as do I. My other kids have seemingly forgotten my existence, which hurts, but it's also better than them being sad about the situation. I constantly try to call them, but at their age, I get about 5 words in before they lose interest. My ex-wife and in-laws try to get them to stay on the phone and talk to me, but there's only so much connection you can have over the phone with kids their age. They seem happy, which is all I can ask for. I am at peace knowing that both my son and my younger kids have someone who loves them in their lives. I miss my family, but I feel I made the right choice for them and my son. After our divorce, I asked my ex-wife to lay it on the line. Why did she want to leave before even meeting my son? She had written me pretty consistent letters from the day we found out until the day we divorced. She gave them to me once our divorce was finalized. I read over them several times. She gave several reasons for wanting to split. She felt she had chosen me to have a family with, and I had already had a family. If she had wanted strangers in her life, she would have married a man with kids the first time. She specifically chose someone without kids and felt she had made a mistake, as now other people would have some control over our lives, and a stranger would be in our home. She loved our life and marriage and knew it was all about to change because of my past decisions. She also said she knew that kids coming out of situations like his were likely to have trauma. She underlined many times that while I was a good person, she knew I'd throw our family under the bus to make up for something I had no control over. I wrote to her to tell her she was right and that I was sorry things turned out how they did. Overall, I am happy. I don't regret my decisions. My son is thriving with me, and my other kids have a great mother and maternal family. I hope my son continues to improve, and I selfishly hope that as time passes and he gets older and more stable, I will be able to reconnect with my wife and be involved with my other kids. I appreciate everyone who reached out with advice.